So that is still something that could eventually happen if this board isn't able to come to a conclusion and the Board of Supervisors doesn't act in the next several months. Then it could just go to an election. We might have a vacant seat for the year.
Yeah, until November.
It would go to the general. Yeah.
So whoever's elected in November would be seated in December. But it's possible that it could end up in that case, or in that situation.
Okay.
Also, now you gotta remember that there's gonna be 2 board vacancies in December also.
Well, all 3 of these, the 2 seats that will be open at the end of the year and the one that we're trying to fill right now will all be up for election at the end of the year.
Yeah. Okay.
So if there's no further comments, we can move on.
I got nothing else. I'm happy to move on. Anybody else have anything else? No. Anything else? Okay, moving on. Non-district reports. County organizations.
San Luis Obispo Sheriff's Department was here, but they had to respond to a call. We do have the stats. I can read them if you'd like, or we can just submit it as record.
If you don't mind reading them, that'd be great.
Certainly. So this is January 2026, and they did a comparison of last year to this year. So last year, the calls in San Miguel were 150. This year we're 150, last year we're 154, so we're down 4 calls. And the reports generated in that time period were 24 reports generated, 28 last year, so once again, down 4. There were 8 calls for service and 4 reports were generated. 19 disturbances, 0 reports generated. Different reports, so excuse me, fumbling through it. 0 burglaries, which is good. Theft, 3 calls and 0 reports generated. Vandalism, 1 call for service, 1 report generated. Trespassing, 1 call for service, 0 reports generated. Scams, 2 calls for services and 1 report generated. And suspicious circumstances, 8 and 1 report generated. And that's all the information I have from the Sheriff's Department.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any community service organizations? No, Camp Roberts? Staff Nicole, do we have any public comment on the non-district reports? Nope. All right. Staff and committee reports. General Manager.
I do not have anything to add to my report tonight.
Questions or comments on the general manager's report?
Yes. Well, I don't know if this is the right time, but I do have a question for you.
Was it pertaining to my role as general manager or to the utilities?
Yeah. We're on general manager, right?
Yes. I'm just trying to help you get in the right spot.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I just have a question for you. Are you still taking the C.S.D. truck home?
No.
Okay, so you're driving your own back to work, right?
Yes.
Okay.
For my contract, that's what I'm allowed to do.
Yeah, well, I know, but I haven't seen your pickup here.
I drive it every day.
Where do you park?
I park it at the yard.
Oh, okay, all right. That's all my questions.
Okay. General Counsel.
Nothing for me tonight.
Okay. How about district utilities?
You have the report is submitted. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Questions, comments?
No questions.
Questions, comments, utilities report?
I don't think so, no.
Okay. Fire chief report.
Good evening. The Fire Chief's report is submitted as written, a couple caveats. It is a lot longer because it was a year in versus just December. So it gives you a snapshot of calls ran and the types of services rendered throughout the year. In addition, there's a bullet point that I haven't been putting on there, but it's an update on the Casablanca Mission Gardens mobile home park across the way. We were talking about getting that south entrance exit opened, and it has been opened. And we were able to work with Sam Gill Garbage, and they relocated the 40-yard dumpster that has been on site from the parking lot, which would be right adjacent to us on the north side of the complex, over to the south side of the complex in between two fences. We still have clearance for emergency fire access, and the dumpster's been kind of moved out of sight, so the children have more area to play. It was a complaint or a concern from a citizen who's a neighbor. Chris, I can't remember his last name, contacted me a couple times, so working with him to make that happen. I think it's a big improvement, and it's a huge leap towards a safer environment for everybody living there.
Is it a permanently placed dumpster?
Excuse me?
Is it a permanently placed, like?
It's a roll-off. It's a 40-yard roll-off. So that complex generates a lot of furniture, mattresses, just, there's a constant turnover of product. So they have a 40-yard dumpster, then 2 3-yard dumpsters that are still in the alley. So with that amount of trash collection, Samuel Garbage has done a great job, and they're able to keep that complex as clean as possible, as long as the residents utilize the facilities that are available to them. The guardian of the property has done a great job trying to get it up to compliance with the assistance of our department and the housing component that oversees the park, because it is a state managed park, but we do have fire authority, so we're making huge progress.
Have the weekly sheriff responses calmed down there at that location?
Dramatically.
Okay.
Dramatically. So I think the population has thinned out quite a bit there, and the calls for service has declined quite a bit.
Perfect. Thank you. Any questions, comments on the fire chief report?
No.
I have a question.
Sure.
I think, and I've asked this question a few times, and I think this is where you should have brought it back. Never did get an answer on the money that is made from Safe and Sane fireworks sales.
So once again, that's an association concern, not a fire department concern. And if you'd like to have that information, make an appointment, come on by and see me. I've been working on a compilation of the history and putting that together, and I have a pretty decent synopsis all the way up to 2017 is where I'm at, but that's a different item, and I don't believe that's part of the fire chief's report.
Well, you were the one that I asked to bring it.
That would be for the association, and like I said, the information would have been presented at
Okay,
community organizations.
when will you have the gross and the net of the sales of fireworks?
It's an association question, sir. If you'd like to call and make an appointment with me, we could go over it.
All right, 'cause I think people would like to know.
I think people will be surprised to know.
Yeah. All right, I'll make an appointment, come down and see you.
That'd be great.
Okay, do we have any public comments on the staff committee reports? Anyone? No. Okay, moving on to the consent calendar. Items listed below are scheduled for consideration as a group in one vote.
I think we
And
missed
direct
a
me.
phone almost.
No, I just had
He
it.
just did it.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's me then, sorry, apologize.
We didn't have any public, I asked for it.
I apologize,
We didn't
me.
have any, sorry. The items listed below are scheduled for consideration as a group in one vote. Any director may request an item to withdraw from the consent agenda to discuss or to change the recommended course of action. Unless an item is pulled for separate consideration by the board, the following items are recommended for approval without further discussion.
I'd like to pull items number 2, 3, and 4.
Okay? We don't have an issue with item number 1? No?
So we can approve item number 1.
Need a motion?
A motion. we
Or
approve-
actually, we need public comment first.
Oh. Any public comment on item number 1 of the consent calendar? have none. Motion we approve consent calendar item number 1.
Second?
Second to approve.
I can't see second, now you have to tell me.
Motion by Director Sangster, second by Director Smiley to approve item number 1 of the consent calendar.
Okay. Director Davis?
Yes.
Director Beatty?
Yes.
Director Smiley?
Yes.
Director Sangster?
Yes.
Passes 4-0 with 1 vacancy.
Item number 2 of the consent calendar is the 2025 Volunteer Firefighter Assistance Grant, VFC acceptance by resolution 2026. Be the next consecutive number in the series.
I'm waiting for my computer to catch up. My apologies, it's working off my phone, so it goes rather slow. So the suggested act, so this is 2025. It's labeled as a VFA grant, the Volunteer Fire Assistance Grant, but it's actually a VFC grant. And caveat to that was we were awarded the VFA grant, which was approved and passed last month. And I received notification that a supplemental amount of funding was provided to us for a training item that was removed from the original budget. So suggested action is to approve resolution 2026, and it says XX on it.
It's next consecutive.
Yeah, next consecutive.
Yeah.
So we're up and authorize the fire chief to accept a grant and administer the 2025 Volunteer Fire Capacity Grant. It's a VFC grant awarding. The award grant number is 7FG 25740 from CAL FIRE Matching Fund granting matching funds in the amount of $1650 for training not originally approved in the VFA application. The total grant is $3,300 and our part is $1650. What it provides is training for S212. S212 is a wildland fire fighting chainsaw training. Chainsaw use is very dangerous and chainsaw training is very valuable. We use chainsaws for the district and chainsaws out in our fire activities. So I think it's a valuable component and I'm very grateful to CAL FIRE saw fit that they would give us a supplemental grant for this.
Is the 1650 of our share already accounted for in the budget item, or this?
Yeah, we have a state grants line item. The state grants line item had, I think, $60-something thousand in it for combined for the VFA, VFC grants. But the VFC grant wasn't really accommodating, but it was encompassed in the VFA grant application. And then we also have an OTS grant. We were assuming $50,000, but our ask is much less for the OTS grant. So all in all, it'll come out in the end.
Okay.
We'll be under in spending.
No question.
And receiving.
No question.
Based on the budget item.
Excuse me?
Based on the line item in the budget. Yep.
Okay, I got a question here.
I have a hard time seeing you. There we go.
Yeah, I got a question. Now, on that grant that got passed by, I gotta say, it's my mistake. It was on consent calendar for last month. Okay, the way I understood that, you had 2 grants. One was for $12,000, one was for $14,000. It's supposed to have been 50-50. And then you had, a lot of them are on this one list here, you know. But you had, well, I'll read down, you got them redacted out now, but these were on that list.
Redacted?
For, well, you got them scratched out.
Shouldn't be anything scratched out.
There's strike-throughs.
Well, sure is.
On
See
the
red
list
line?
on the list of expenses.
Okay, so what you're looking at the award, and the award was for my computer's still acting up. The award was for the VFA grant, and those 2 items that were scratched out were the S212 class, which this supplemental grant funded that, so it's a separate grant from the original grant. And then the other one was a driver operator 1E, and that is a wildland fire apparatus all-wheel drive training module that goes along with 1A, 1B, and they did not award us that. So this is the supplemental that accommodates the S212 training. The other items were funded in the previous application.
And just to clarify, all of these are training items. They're not,
It's only one item, and it's a training item, yes. So we put in for multiple training items because we could never have too much training. And if we could get matching funds for training, we're in great shape.
okay. So that on the list that Director Davis is referring to with the, whatever, 15 or so, there are 12 items. The bottom 4 are training and the top.
So if you look at the page 93, once again, our computer's going very slow.
Yeah, 93.
That was the original award, and we
Yes.
received that funding. But the scratched out items were items that were funded through the VFA grant.
Yeah.
The VFC grant is only that one item, line item number 9, S212, wildland chainsaw training. 6 students at $550 apiece, $3,300 total.
Yeah, I understand. My point was the first.
And it was confusing for me because I've never received a supplemental grant, or I've yet to receive a supplemental grant before, and all of a sudden I got an email from Cal Fire saying, we have this, and it took me a minute to wrap my head around it, so I could see it's a little confusing, but all the struck items were paid for previously.
Okay.
They're included in our previous grant.
So, operator or wildland chainsaw, now, is that for the training or is that to buy 6 saws?
It's training. It says training in the first, where it says type. So we have, type, as you go down the list for the previous ones, wildland safety, wildland safety, wildland safety. 9 is training, 10 is training, 11 is training, and 12 is training. So item number 9 is awarded in this grant application. Item number 10 was never awarded between the 2 grant applications. S219 firing operations was was funded through the last application. And S270 basic air operations, which is a vital course as well, was funded through the initial application. That's why they're scratched on this one. They're only awarding that $3,300 with the matching component.
Okay, and that's training, that ain't for,
It's training, no product, no tools, just training.
okay.
And this training, Scott, is this through CAL FIRE?
The money is through CAL FIRE. The courses we have to seek out and find the courses. S212 is a difficult course. When I took it, I traveled up to Placerville to take it. So you have to fall quite a few trees, and it's a multi-day course. It's arduous and it's worthwhile. It's safety, 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 and I'm really grateful that we're able to have this opportunity. But so to answer your question, I don't know if I answered your question, but the course will not be put on by CAL FIRE more than likely, but it will be a State Fire Marshal certificate course. So when we get the S219 or 212 class, the curriculum will be State Fire Marshal approved, and the cadets or the firefighters will receive a certification from the State Fire Marshal's office, as I did.
Perfect, yeah, I was just curious if the firefighters in the department would actually be able to obtain an actual certificate that, you know.
They'll get certification for all these courses. Every course that's available. This is just a mechanism to assist us with funding.
Questions or comments?
I do. So Scott, okay, you got 6 in training and $550 each. Now, is that gonna cover the cost of sending somebody all the way up to Placerville?
This is the cost of the course only. That's what they're giving us, the cost of the course. So we're typical for our training. We'll offer them a vehicle to take because they're taking their own time. They're usually providing their own lodging. So they'll take a utility truck and all the gear that they need to go up there. They might need to take chainsaws with them, Sawyer shafts, their wildland safety PPE, all that stuff, and whatever textbooks will be required will be part of that 550, I believe. And that was an estimate based on, the cost at the time of the class. Well, of the grant application, I'm sorry. But it's a good target number.
Okay.
I went to Placerville on my own dime.
Well, yeah, well, that's the thing, you know, travel is pretty expensive. And
But we did take the utility truck.
Yeah. But, they'll be paying all their other expenses, right? Okay.
Anything else?
We're hoping we can find it closer. Maybe Camp Roberts will have some property that we could, you know, they can.
There's a lot of trees out there.
There are a lot of trees out there, but they are protected. They have environmentalists.
Yeah.
You're not chopping those down.
That's it for this one? All right. We'll move on to the next item, people. Or you want to vote on it?
Public comment?
Oh, public. You want to take it all together or do it one item at a time?
Up to you.
We'll take public comment on this item. So item number 2 in the consent calendar. No public comment. All right. Do you want to vote on them independently or yes? Okay.
Since they're full.
Since they were pulled,
Okay.
it's cleaner.
I motion to approve item number 2 on the consent calendar.
I'll second it.
Motion by Director Sangster, second by Director Beatty.
A motion on the floor. Director Davis.
Yes.
Director Smiley.
Yes.
Director Beatty.
Yes.
Director Sangster.
Yes.
Passes 4-0 with one vacancy.
Okay, move on to item number 3 on the consent calendar.
So this is a fairly large item that's been going on for quite some time, and it deals with the hazardous mitigation plan. And the subject is adopt the San Luis Obispo County multi-jurisdictional hazardous mitigation plan 2025 through 2030 by resolution 2026 XX, next in order. And the suggested action is to review and approve the plan as written. This process is a process that has occurred in 5-year increments. So I participated in the previous one 5 years ago, whenever that was, in 2020, 2019, and then this is the new update. This was brought to the board's attention multiple times throughout the process, and we were fortunate this year, or this round, that the county was able to receive a grant, and they funded the entire hazardous mitigation plan, so we didn't have a buy-in on it. We didn't have to have any expenditure. I think we paid a couple $1,000s last year, or last time, to accomplish this task. It's in its final draft version, or final version, and it's pretty much as is. We put out notification on the websites for participation, things of that nature, and this is where we're at. So this is basically the county's emergency management plan, and we're a part of that multi-jurisdictional hazardous mitigation plan. It applies to, you go down the list, tsunamis, which, our likelihood of tsunami is 0. But we do have flooding, earthquakes, and things of that nature. We have sensitive infrastructure that's been detailed, our evacuation maps and planning. So this is the county-wide plan. And once this is completed, it'll be sent to the Board of Supervisors for ratification, and then it allows all jurisdictions to apply for FEMA funding. So if we have some sort of catastrophic event, we can file for FEMA funding, or we could apply for grants. FEMA grants are hard to get lately. I keep trying, and I'm not going to stop trying, but without this, we wouldn't be able to apply. And it's going to be adopted.
Do we have input in the plan, or it's just given to us by the county?
We put our input into the plan during the initial phase, the drafts, and the drafts were put on the agendas and things of that nature. This is the final version, and it's going to the County Board of Supervisors. It's, I think, 3,000 pages in depth. It's a fairly large document. It's not included in the meeting agenda. There's a link to it.
Thank you.
And you can scroll. Yeah.
1,600.
How much? 600, almost as big as a code.
1,600.
It's 1,600, bigger than a code.
Nobody wanted to cry.
I think it's a great opportunity for all jurisdictions to express their concerns. I mean, there's a big concern on the coast for obviously tsunamis, and when you're dealing with Diablo Canyon and jurisdictions like Morro Bay and stuff. It's great for them to brainstorm. We're kind of, at the north end of San Luis Obispo, San Luis, Siberia, so we put our input in there, and now we fit into the plan. We're kind of on there's an overlap with Monterey, but there's no multi-county hazardous mitigation plan. It's just San Luis Obispo County. I think the plan is sound, and I think the information is valid, and I worked with the general manager to provide the information for the wastewater treatment plant. Tried to contact the other outside agencies with input for their facilities. It was hard to come by, but I think everything in there is valid.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments?
No.
Director Davis, questions or comments?
No, I was just wondering, this is another grant, right?
No.
It's the final version.
Final version of the,
This is not a grant, it's the final version of that document.
Hazardous mitigation plan.
okay. Okay, I don't have any questions.
Okay, we have public comment on this item.
Electric, please. Thank you.
Good evening, board. My name is Robin Johnson. I'm a resident of 675 15th Street, San Miguel, between Prado and Bonita. I'm a prepper, so I really would like to find a way that I could actually get a copy of this document and see what all the different things like with fire and earthquake and flood, what can I expect for, what is my escape route? And what should I be doing, being here in San Miguel? And how does this affect me if something should happen with my house, let's say earthquake, and I have to apply for like a FEMA grant or something? So I'm just interested in getting more information and maybe we can have like a community like workshop training. That would be good for us because a lot of people, and let's look at the things in the news with Russia having nukes and all the threats going backwards and forward between all the countries. Where would our fallout shelter be in that, in a probable situation with, a nuclear issue? So, yes, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The board wishes I could speak to that?
Yes,
please.
So the multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan is just an overview of all the hazards that are involved in the county of San Luis Obispo. What I suggest you do is look at ReadySlow, and ReadySlow.com will give you evacuation maps. It'll give you grab and go items, things like that. You live in SM1 is your evacuation zone. We have 3 zones in San Miguel, so yours I believe is SM1. And I am planning on doing some more community outreach and community workshops in the near future, so just kind of stay tuned and we'll be putting that out. If you stop by the fire station, I do have some ReadySlow information I could give you, magnets for your refrigerator, things of that nature.
Yes, thank you.
I think there's some up at the senior center counter, if I'm not mistaken, maybe Kathy can direct you to this. Because I did come in during the seniors lunch, and pass out information and talk about the evacuation zones and things of that nature.
Very well, thank you.
Certainly.
Any other public comment? No? All right. I would make a motion to approve item number 3 from the consent calendar.
I'll second.
So a motion by Director Sangster, second by Director Beatty.
Director Beatty?
Yes.
Director Davis?
Yes.
Director Smiley?
Yes.
Director Sangster?
Yes.
Passes 4-0 with 1 vacancy.
Thank you, directors.
Okay, we have item number 4 from the consent calendar.
This item is review and approve a no-cost change order between the San Miguel Community Services District and Forefront Power for the proposed photovoltaic solar system at Machado Wastewater Treatment Facility. Did you want to talk about it?
Forefront is requesting a no-cost amendment to adopt the changes that are outlined in the staff report that was provided. There's minor changes to the scope relating to conduits for conductors and for communications, and there's an amendment to the termination rights section. Under the original agreement, San Miguel has the right to terminate the agreement if there is a delay caused by Forefront, which causes the district to lose NEM status. It's 2.0, right? The NEM 2.0 status. There's a slight revision just to the scheduling acknowledgements under that termination that that San Miguel needs to make submittals to PG&E for final inspections and reviews and sign off of the system by a certain date. Originally, they were proposing that the district receive those from PG&E. However, that's outside of the district's control of when PG&E actually acts on things like that. And so we negotiated a submittal date instead for the district because that is within the district's control. So what that does is if the district does not submit to the local electric utility, PG&E, its request for a line side tap approval. Kelly can explain to you better what that is. By September 30th, 2026, then we essentially waive our termination right because that would start the triggers for losing NEM 2.0 status potentially, and it would be out of the control of Forefront in the hands of the district.
So the system is not in place. Is this, I mean, what is the significance of the dates? If the system's not installed, I'm not requesting PTO or whatever, what is the significance of the dates?
The significance of the dates is essentially that those are the end dates that we could push out any sort of application to. So if we don't have our portion of this project done by the end of August 2026, then that doesn't give enough time for Forefront Power to apply and receive approval to turn the system on. And that's essentially their concern, is that we drag this out too long and they won't have enough time to actually facilitate the final of the system and turn it on in order to maintain the NEM 2.0 status.
So what are we waiting for?
We are currently finishing the plan to go out to bid to install the equipment. Previously, the board approved purchasing the switchgear equipment, which would be what we were installing, which should be here well in advance of that date and allow us ample time to install it. They're concerned that if there's any sort of delay on our side, that we don't